Welcome back. Bill and Hillary Clinton are going to, quote, extraordinary lengths to assist Obama advisors vetting her for Secretary of State. The Washington Post reported this afternoon the former president is now making all donors to his foundation public, something he did not do during the primary campaign, as well as clearing his future speeches and activities with the Obama team, at least signaling that he'd be willing to do that. He's campaigning now down in Georgia for that outstanding Senate seat. Jim Martin taking on Saxby Chambliss. Joining me now, David Ignatius, columnist and associate editor at the Washington Post. David, you were here a few days ago making the case that has been made more broadly. You've done it. Others have picked it up. Whether or not she's the right choice, when you really think about the nuts and bolts of the job, Thomas Friedman talked about that today. It's the nature of the relationship between a president and a Secretary of State that foreign leaders will pick up on in a heartbeat.
Let me just say at the outset, the Secretary of State is the one job I can think of for which Hillary Clinton would not be a good choice. She'd be a wonderful Supreme Court justice. She'd be a great Senate Majority Leader. She's a very gifted politician. But the problem with her as Secretary of State, in my mind, is that she would undercut the real game changer, as I put it last Friday in your show, which is Barack Obama. Barack Obama has really excited the world. If you want to see the unsettlement in the world, just look at this crazy racist statement from Zawahiri, the al-Qaeda man, who's obviously frightened about this new face in American politics and what it would mean for al-Qaeda. So I like to think that Obama is going to be a decisive voice in foreign policy. With this very high visibility, super prominent person, Hillary Clinton, as the Secretary of State, a lot of that goes away. You know, he really is subcontracting. Why does it necessarily go away? Well,
if she is not an effective agent for him, it might go away. But why do we assume that that's not the case?
Because she is at a level of superstardom. You do get to a place in American life where you just can't be, you know, a worker bee anymore. You can't be delegated to do something by the boss. She carries with her this reputation, this entourage, and I think it would be harder for Obama himself to put his personal imprint on foreign policy in a way that's potentially very valuable. So, you know, that bothers me. Then there's the problem, obviously, of Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is, again, immensely gifted. I know few people who are wiser about foreign policy, but he comes with a lot of baggage that's now being investigated by the Obama vetting team, and we'll see what they decide. But I worry that this is a self-inflicted wound. This was not a necessary appointment. There are many qualified people. I don't really understand why the Obama team in the end decided this was the right thing to do. Now I think they lose if they don't pick her, having gone this far. I think it's going to be an embarrassment for them.
And they do have this account that has to be managed. Not only whatever relationship that is emerging between Obama and Hillary Clinton have to be managed, but then the Bill Clinton aspect of this. And it's interesting what you say, because it's not just the management of what he does on the world stage, but there is a Clinton establishment foreign policy that the world knows and understands. I think about all of his work in the Middle East that will continue, that she would step into. And there are all kinds of people that we both know who are sort of waiting for a Secretary of State run by Hillary Clinton to sort of get back in the fold.
There are networks that surround the Clintons. There is a value to that. If I didn't think that Barack Obama had the opportunity to do really new and creative things in foreign policy, I'd be all for this. If you had a new president who had less aptitude, was less a person who was seen by the world as turning a page, as representing a new America, I wouldn't be so concerned. But we do have an unusual opportunity here. Just travel. I've been abroad since the election, and what you hear abroad is striking. And I worry that Obama is going to dissipate some of that, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why.
And again, does he dissipate it because of preconceived notions about what Hillary Clinton represents if she's Secretary of State? Is it a sense that no one is actually going to believe that she speaks for him and that they can speak through her right to the president?
David, if they do this, one hopes they're smart people, that they'll work out rules of the road, and it won't be as bad as one could hypothesize. But you have a lot of big egos, big personalities. You have Barack Obama, the new president the world is curious about. You have Joe Biden, a big guy with lots of views about foreign policy. You have John Kerry, a former presidential candidate, taking over as chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And now you have the prospect of Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State. That's a lot of elephants in the room. And you have to ask, is that the way you want to manage your foreign policy? Will that be effective?
We've seen that movie. We've been watching it for the past 8 years.
Somehow Obama bought into this idea that the team of rivals, that bringing discord under the same tent is a good idea. I've been covering foreign policy for 30 years, and I'll tell you, whenever whenever you have these kinds of rivalries, different cabinet agencies feuding with each other, the kind of thing we saw with Rumsfeld fighting against Colin Powell during the Bush administration, I think you end up with problems. Why build that in at the outset? Honestly, I don't get it.
Before you go, I do want to talk about Zawahiri and this new tape from Al-Qaeda that came out with these, it's propaganda at its most base level, casting aspersions upon Obama. What do you make of it?
What I make of it is that they're very unsettled. I wrote a column last weekend making that point, that for Al-Qaeda, this is a strange new event. This is not the adversary they thought they'd be confronting. The other thing it shows you is that these people, this is really racist, raw racist language about Obama. And Al-Qaeda keeps doing dumb things. It keeps doing things that offend ordinary people around the world. It keeps killing Muslims, and Muslims get angry. I have to think that Africans, Asians, when they read this language describing the new American president that's got the world's interest, they'll be offended. And I think that will add to Al-Qaeda's problems, which from our standpoint is a good thing.
This is a quick question, but I realize that the answer is perhaps for another visit. It's a longer conversation. If Obama is successful in targeting his counterterror efforts in Afghanistan, Pakistan, in a way that some critics would think that should have been done under the Bush administration, and Iraq is not a central theater as it became, what is the potential potency of that kind of narrow effort?
In terms of being able to really knock out Al-Qaeda. So long as Al-Qaeda in Iraq stays quiescent, in other words, so long as it doesn't return with the return of ethnic violence in Iraq, you can go aggressively after Al-Qaeda. I've been in Afghanistan 3 times this year, and one of the things that's striking is that Al-Qaeda is already on the run in Afghanistan. The opportunity to really finish that story by making some new alliances, by peeling off some people who are allied with the Taliban but are not Taliban believers, and getting them involved in the fight against Al-Qaeda means that we could, I think, continue to have success, and that this could look a good deal better in a couple of years.
All right, we'll leave it there for tonight. David Ignatius, always a pleasure to have you on. Thanks, David.